What's up guys, it's Tommy here and welcome to a brand new huge update on the Alexander Isak to Liverpool transfer situation, because Craig Hope, who is a very reliable Newcastle based journalist, he has very close sources inside Newcastle United. He has revealed that Alexander Isak is on a strike and he will not play for Newcastle United again, and he doesn't even want to train with the club. He doesn't want to play, he wants out, he wants a Liverpool move, and this is not his agents making, it is Alexander Isak taking control of his own situation. And also he revealed the 4 scenarios where this could play out, and I think 3 of those scenarios involve Liverpool getting Alexander Isak, and also how the Newcastle's search for a striker is going, because there are major developments regarding that as well. So all of you guys are very eager to find out what happens next, and Craig Hope outlined the potential scenarios. So Alexander Isak doesn't want to train with Newcastle, and that rules him out for all the fixtures of Newcastle United for the foreseeable future. And also Alexander Isak will get fined once he misses Newcastle's first competitive fixture, which will be the Aston Villa Newcastle game on the weekend. And by the way, today Liverpool start the Premier League season with a game at Anfield against Bournemouth. Let me know your score predictions down below. Can Salah continue his amazing goal scoring streak of scoring in all but one of the Premier League openers for Liverpool since he signed for Liverpool? And as long as the transfer window is open, Alexander Isak will not play for Newcastle again, which is absolutely massive. He wants to do absolutely everything to get this deal over the line of Liverpool signing him. And now Newcastle are also turning in their stance. They are not saying Alexander Isak is not for sale anymore. So the order from Newcastle, from Isak's agent and his camp, is that don't show any sign of weakness. That's the message to Alexander Isak. And Craig Hope is saying that the 4 potential scenarios of how this could play out is scenario A is that Alexander Isak has a change of heart, he signs a new contract, even with a release clause or a promise of a move next summer. He reintegrates into the squad, he starts training again and playing again for Newcastle, but that's the least likely scenario. Scenario B is the one that Newcastle have been working on for the past 2 months. Sign players that would act as a replacement for Isak, and then negotiate a sale that would extract the maximum value for Alexander Isak, and that's one of the likely scenarios to happen. Scenario C, and that could be more and more likely each day that passes, is that Isak stays at Newcastle against his wishes, and Newcastle just gamble that Alexander Isak will change his mind and start playing again after the transfer window is shut. But that is very, very risky, because Alexander Isak might not want to play for Newcastle ever again, like he said many times. There is a new scenario on the table, which I wanted to tell you about. Scenario D, the 4th scenario, is that Alexander Isak is going to be sold without Newcastle signing 2 strikers. There might be a scenario where Newcastle sign 1 striker and they play Johan Wissa and Anthony Gordon as a striker, alternating between them, rotating between them, and they get through to the January transfer window with these options, and then in January they might sign another striker. And Johan Wissa's arrival from Brentford is expected in the coming week, because the latest news is that Newcastle have had a bid accepted by Brentford, and it looks like that Johan Wissa was given permission by Brentford to travel to Newcastle and to have a medical. So now the medical is booked. That's today's news, by the way. So the fresh news is that Finally, after months of waiting, Newcastle might actually sign a striker. Pop the champagne, guys. This is a miracle. Newcastle are getting a striker, Johan Wissa. I didn't think that we would see the day where this happens. Of course, I'm saying this jokingly, tongue-in-cheek, but also it's absolutely embarrassing for Newcastle how long it took for them to actually get a striker signed in this summer transfer window. So at the moment this transfer saga is still at the balance, but the most likely scenario is that Johan Wissa gets signed by Newcastle, and whether they sign a second striker or not, Alexander Isak will be sold, because Newcastle know that if they don't sell Isak now, they will lose 50, 60, 70 million pounds of that transfer fee. Because what if Isak doesn't play again until January or next summer? His value will massively go down. And even if he plays, he might not play at 100%, and he might not have as great a season for Newcastle this season that is about to start. And then his value will drop significantly. So if Newcastle wants to get the most money for Isak, they need to sell in this summer transfer window. And Craig Hope reveals that the way that Alexander Isak behaves is because his agent has been talking to Liverpool. Liverpool would have influenced their exit strategy. I don't think it was Liverpool who advised Isak to do this, but Isak thought there is no other way to force Newcastle's hand than to just go on strike. And Indikalia Twitter page, who is getting a lot more reputable nowadays, they are saying that Isak is in charge. They are having tier 1 journalists working for them, by the way. So according to Newcastle sources, Alexander Isak is making all the decisions. It's not his agent making these decisions. It turns out he's the one calling the shots here, not his agent. That's big news. Isak has decided to go on strike, and it's all his own doing. He's taking control of his career and making decisions without waiting for his agent to weigh in or approve. But Isak seems to be saying, I know what I want, and he's not afraid to go after it, and that's Liverpool. That's a Liverpool transfer. And the dominoes are falling, because it looks like the Bournemouth attacker, striker / winger Ouattara is signing for Brentford, and that in turn made Brentford sell Johan Wissa to Newcastle, and that in turn makes Newcastle be able to sell Alexander Isak to Liverpool. So these transfer dominoes are usually how these deals happen, and it's very, very interesting and very fascinating in my opinion. And Bournemouth are also interested in Ben Doak. He's valued at 20 to 25 million pounds, and it looks like Bournemouth are willing to pay that. So Ben Doak could get a permanent transfer to Bournemouth, which is very, very interesting. And Arne Slot said that Liverpool are definitely looking to sign a striker, and also Hugo Ekitike can play with the number 9, with the striker. Arne Slot said the Luis Diaz and Darwin Núñez situations are quite clear, so then you have to replace them. I think we did that really well. From the options we could get, we got all the ones we would like to bring in. And he also said, I would have preferred Trent to stay, but unfortunately he didn't. Then you have to replace him, and then you have situations like Kelleher and Kwanzaa where they wanted to leave, they wanted to get regular playing time at other clubs. It is always hard for a player to have 2 or 3 seasons like this, not being a regular starter in a row, and if a player is not able to do this mentally, then it is best to part ways, and then you have to replace these players as well. But Liverpool made more than great replacements. Kelleher, the replacement is Mamardashvili, and Kwanzaa's replacement is Laoni, who might be even more talented as a centre back. And Fabrizio Romano also revealed that Newcastle are now in a position where they have to make a decision on Alexander Isak, and it looks like that they are going to sign Johan Wissa, because Brentford are closing in on a £42 million deal for Dango Ouattara, the Bournemouth forward. And once Brentford sign Ouattara, they let Wissa go to Newcastle, and then Newcastle have a striker in place, so then they can sell Alexander Isak to Liverpool, which is all very, very encouraging and very exciting. There is still 15 days left on the transfer window, so I'm not too worried that. But what we can almost guarantee is that Alexander Isak will not play for Liverpool in September. The earliest that he can get integrated, in August, the earliest he could get integrated is probably after the international break, because he didn't have a proper preseason with Newcastle. He needs to have a mini preseason with Liverpool, so after maybe the first international break, that's where we will see Alexander Isak starting for Liverpool. He might make the bench against Arsenal, but I think in the Newcastle game Alexander Isak won't take part. But can you imagine if Liverpool announced Alexander Isak as a Liverpool signing at St. James's Park, I mean, the Newcastle fans might have an absolute riot if that would happen. Of course, Liverpool will do it respectfully. So even if we sign Alexander Isak before the Newcastle game, which is game week 2 by the way, I don't think we will play him, or we may have an agreement with Newcastle not to play him, because the vitriol will be high enough as it is. Eddie Howe, the Newcastle manager, also said, we have a bit of time. The issue we have is we didn't just lose Isak, we also lost Callum Wilson from last season, so we are definitely looking to buy a striker, but at the moment it looks like Newcastle will play Anthony Gordon as their main striker. And Eddie Howe said that the situation with Isak is not really irretrievable, but the communication is going to be the key, and at some stage we might be able to change things. At the moment we are in a position where that's not possible, but I like to think that we will be able to reassess as we go on, that he will always recognize that this is a very special team and a very special club. But I think Isak knows that Liverpool are even more special, and that's why he's absolutely desperate to join Liverpool. Fabrizio Romano also revealed that Isak wants to join Liverpool as soon as possible, again rejecting all new contract approaches from Newcastle, and he doesn't even want to train with the club. He doesn't want to play for Newcastle ever again. It's clear that Isak is doing absolutely everything in his powers to go to Liverpool. Now it's up to Newcastle to finally invite Liverpool to the table. Some people are already saying that there is a £120 million offer on the table for Newcastle from Liverpool, with another £5 million of add-ons. Newcastle are just waiting to get a striker replacement, because it would look, this is all about PR as well, it would look awful for Newcastle in terms of optics if they sell Isak without having a striker in already. Fabrizio Romano yesterday confirmed that Alexander Isak's plans. He said those plans are clear. No intention to be part of the Newcastle squad against Aston Villa. Same against Liverpool next week. Isak keeps rejecting new deal approaches, as his clear desire remains to join Liverpool as soon as possible. Lee Ryder, another Newcastle writer, another Newcastle journalist, is saying that Newcastle are still trying to do the Johan Wissa deal, plus they are hunting for another striker. That's not helped. The situation is not helped at all by the uncertainty surrounding Alexander Isak. I think Isak will be sold once Newcastle get at least one striker through the door, but maybe they will get two, who knows, we shall wait and see. But let me know what you think about this whole transfer saga, because it has been absolutely crazy and I've never seen anything like it. And do you think that Isak's reputation is tarnished in the football world? Because I think at Newcastle his reputation is already through the gutter, it's in the toilet. And if I were Alexander Isak, I would have probably put out a statement that I loved every minute of my time at Newcastle, but I want to leave, I want to challenge myself, I want to go to Liverpool, I want to go to another club to win the Premier League, the Champions League, and I wish Newcastle all the best, but just let me leave respectfully. The way that he has handled this is not the best look, I'm not gonna lie, but let me know, how do you see this in the comments below. I would love to hear your opinion, and thanks for watching guys, hope you enjoyed this. Have a nice day, see you later, goodbye.